was the ChatGPT product, right? You go to ChatGPT and you answer it, and man, it's amazing to come back and really quick and give you really in-depth answers, and you're just like, wow, that's pretty awesome. That must be true. That must be true is the scary part.
Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
In a world where Big Pharma writes the script, it's time to believe. Biohack. Become.
We're here to explore the truth about healing that exists outside the broken medical system, to give you the knowledge, the community, and the strategies you need to become the hero of your own health story.
Your guide is a biohacking entrepreneur, a near-death survivor, and a cancer warrior navigating his own healing journey. Founder of Biohackingville, Exodus Strong, and QE Strong. Your host, Rob Rene. This is Biohackingville, where the medical system has failed us. One man is leading the rebellion to reclaim.
Hey, this is going to be a great episode. We are talking about AI and health. And I have done some amazing research in looking at some of the horror stories about using AI in health, and the companies that are getting sued for millions of dollars by from their AI systems that have recommended things that are not good. Man, when you start looking at the stories, there's some horror stories, and it's really scary. So we'll go through that. And then I am working with 6 different apps. I'm doing a lot more than that, but I wanted to focus on just 6 that just are like the most popular, that people have maybe even heard about. And so I'm testing those 6, and I'll do an initial, just show you what they are. And then we'll do a follow-up, and I'll give you my analysis of those. It's going to be a fun show because you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn about, wow, maybe I shouldn't be listening to my AI when I'm asking it sensitive health information. That's a big caveat, because I do want to explain that you can use AI if you train it well. I think we've talked about AI in the past, where I'm a very big glass half full person when it comes to AI. I believe AI is going to be super disruptive, and so I'm digging in very deep and diving deep into all things AI. And so I'm literally creating a team of agents that are going to help automate multiple businesses of mine. And then, so in order to do that, man, what I'm learning is absolutely incredible, because these things can be very, very dangerous, because they can go off and they can make crazy purchases on your behalf, and they can do a lot of things if you give them autonomy to do so. So they can be very dangerous, but they can also be very powerful. But what you need to do is you need to set them up in a very methodical way and in a very intelligent way, and give them good guardrails. But man, let's step back a little bit and look at it from your health perspectives. Like, when you see the crazy things that these systems are suggesting and what they're recommending people do, and then you or I even, I mean, I'm not talking you, I'm just talking myself. I will go to an AI chatbot, right? Probably the most popular one that just took off like crazy was the ChatGPT product, right? You go to ChatGPT and you answer it, and man, it's amazing to come back and really quick and give you really in-depth answers, and you're just like, wow, that's pretty awesome. That must be true. That must be true is the scary part, because there's a couple of things going on related to that. One is garbage in, garbage out, right? You put bad information into the AI systems, they're going to give you bad AI data back. And so they just regurgitate. They're very good at regurgitating information that's already out there. So I want to make sure you're aware of that, because that's super important. But then there are the way that they get trained is super important as well, right? So garbage in, garbage out. But then how and what they get trained with is also very, very important. And that we'll get into a little discussion a little later on. What are some things and some tools that you can use that you might be a little bit more confident in when it comes to AI and your health. That's where we focus on today, because AI obviously is a very, very big topic, and I'm not an AI podcaster. I'm a biohackingville podcaster. I want to talk about how things are affecting our human body, and this one is going to be a technology discussion. But I wanted to start off with some of those absolutely incredible horror stories first. So we'll start off there. Then we'll dig into some of the big apps, AI healthcare apps. But then I'm going to just give you my suggestions on some things that anybody can do. And then I'm going to tell you some of the things that I'm doing that are a little bit more advanced that I think are going to be game changing as far as health in the future. So it's because if you look at Nirvana, you look at in 6 months, probably 6 to 12 months from now, our health in general is going to change. Our healthcare system is going to change, and the way you're going to receive care is going to change dramatically. And the reason why I say that is everything, in my opinion, this is Rob Rene's opinion as of what's today? Today's April 8th, 2026. My opinion as of today is that our healthcare is going to be personalized. We're going to have genetic information. We're going to have blood work information. We're going to have all the sensors in our house that you can get and do. I literally just got this new scanner in just yesterday. And this scanner, I haven't even plugged it into the computer and done a scan yet. But this little device here is an amazing AI intelligent scanner, and it's going to be able to hook up to my body and give me a report of 150 different items about my body. That's pretty cool, right? And then you can send in your saliva to a genetic company, and they're going to come back and give you all your SNPs. And then you can go, takes a vial of blood and send that to a lab, or you can go to a local lab and get your blood work done. When you combine your blood work, your genetics, and then these sensors that are coming out, you're going to have so much good information about what your body is doing and what happened and how your body has gotten to the point it is different than anybody else in the whole world, right? It's different than your spouse. It's different than your kids. It's different than your mom, different than your friend. It's different than your neighbor. And what you consume, what you eat, and the environment you live in, the environment you lived in the past, and the house that you live in, the way you sleep, what you wear. I mean, there's so many factors that affect your health that it's absolutely incredible. That's why healthcare, the way it's set up today, just does not work. It does not work to help with chronic disease. It helps very, very good with urgent care, right? You will need urgent, you break a bone or you have a heart attack or, heaven forbid, something like that happens. You need to go to the hospital, and they have modern medicine is amazing, right? Modern medicine saved my life, right? I have the pacemaker that's inside me. That if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here doing this. So I know God saved me for a reason, to help other people with their health, and then hopefully their faith through their health is what I'm most passionate about. But let's talk about some of these horror stories, because it's actually kind of fun when you dig into some of these horror stories. You're like, is that real? That really happened? And so then that gets you a little leery about just being so trusting of the little chatbot you have on your phone, right? The chatbot you have on your phone, whether you're using Perplexity or whether you're using ChatGPT or whether you're using, Google Gemini or the Claude, thing, or Grok, whatever AI tool you're using when you're asking it questions, you might be a little bit more cautious after walking through some of these. So let's dive in. Oh, so I want to make sure I finished my story, the about personalized care. So in my opinion, I didn't finish that thought, is that everything is going to be personalized in the very near future. Is that the way I get treated for health and the way my friend gets treated for health and the way your spouse gets treated for their health cannot be the same, because everything you've done up to that point is different, and your body is different and reacts to the solution, whatever that solution is, different than your friend. Even though that's why, man, when I got diagnosed with cancer, God bless people, right? They're really nice. Most people, they would give you, oh, hey, you have cancer. You need to take this supplement, or you need to do this. And man, that just frustrates you. After a while, it gets really, really frustrating, because the more I didn't know a lot about cancer before I got it. All right. I just knew that a lot of people got it. And I'm like, oh, that's for other people. And, that's for people that are old. And I had really bad thoughts, not thoughts, but just pre-misconceptions about people with cancer. Of like, when I got it, right, I started doing research. I did what I love to do best, is digging in. It's like, okay, so, oh my gosh, cancer it's not one thing, it's hundreds of things. And every cancer type is different. And it acts different in the body. The word cancer should not be used, because it's a misnomer, because there's hundreds of different diseases underneath this big umbrella. And so, you say I have cancer, and that sucks, but none of them underneath the covers have anything to do with the other. And the way you treat all 100 of those is different. And even more complex and even more difficult to treat is that the reason why you get it and the reason why I got it is different. And our bodies are made up differently. So the way our body responds to medications is different. So you can't say, take this supplement and you're going to be better. You can't say this cures cancer, because it's ridiculous. It's just it's 100 different types of diseases, and there's 100 different reasons why people got it, and 100 different reasons why the body is different. And so you start adding those up together, and it's like an astronomical number of the probabilities of that something helping you. So all of that to say, my future look is that all medicine is going to be personalized. You're going to be able to say, I have got this problem, and the source of that problem could be lots of different things, but based upon my genetics, based upon my blood work, based upon my diet, based upon my environment, based upon where I live, based upon my age, based upon my race, right? Based upon all your family history, based upon all of this information, you're going to be able to personalize. This is what you need. This is what you need. This is what you need. And it's going to be a combination of diet and supplementation and maybe modern medicine, right? And looking at the combination of those things to help you with your health. So that's what I'm super excited about. I'm building, my moonshot nirvana is to have a solution that just people could go to and say, hey, here's all those things. Here's my genetics. Here's all these things. And you put it into a system, and the system, and you tell it what's going on with you and what the issues you have. And the system's going to be so darn smart. It's going to come back and say, well, for you specific, person 1,253,004.30 on this earth, you should do this based upon all of the information that the system knows. Based upon all the research that's been done, vetted out with all the crap research that's been bought and paid for, which is very difficult to do because most of it's been bought and paid for. But I think nirvana is going to get to the point where we can bypass all that bias in health and give people really good information. And people's longevity is going to be real in the future, in my opinion, is that people are going to live longer and we are going to live healthier lives because of AI technology and modern medicine. Instead, our average age is going down, which it shouldn't be. It should be going up. We should be living longer. So my prediction is we will, and it's going to be through all this personalized medicine and healthcare. So let's get into the fun part. Let's get into the dangers and the craziness of health, because I think you're going to like it. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you the yes, let's see, this is it. And there we go. So here we are looking at my screen. I guess I'm going to blow that up. All right. So when AI plays doctor, right? I'm just going to show it to you this way so I can be on in and out rather than making it full screen. But these are horror stories that they're not going to tell you about because they're not going to want to tell you about. And then I'm going to just give you an overview of the 6 tools that I'm testing right now. And I think you'll like it. So let's talk about the first one, right? The false reassurance is the biggest problem. And so what I mean by that is when you type in your little phone, AI solution, it comes back and man, it just sounds like an authoritative answer, and it gives it to you. So, oh, you need to do this. You should do this. And it's pretty scary. It's like, questions people ask, how do I eliminate, these are the scary ones, is how do I eliminate sodium chloride from my diet? And then it says, try eliminate sodium chloride, try replacing it with sodium bromide. So this poor man, a 60-year-old man with no psychiatric history, replaced table salt with a toxic chemical, pool chemical, based upon ChatGPT's advice. And he was hospitalized for 3 weeks, right? And he was, they put him in an involuntary psychiatric hold because it just messed up with his mind so bad because he was using sodium bromide instead of salt. So just gave him really, really bad advice. He just accepted it as the truth and went forward. And man, that's really, really tragic. So don't do that is the first thing I want to tell you. Right. And then the systematic failure of the, just algorithmic triage, 51.6% emergency triage failure rate, 22% clinical error rate, which is pretty scary. And these are coming from really well thought of, like Stanford, Harvard evaluation did the clinical error rate, saying that the 22% was off. And then this one is really bad. The pediatric diagnostic error rate was 83% error rate. 83%. You don't want to go to a doctor who's going to give you 83% wrong advice, right? That's just crazy. You would never do that with your children. If you thought that doctor was going to give you really, really bad advice, you wouldn't go to that doctor. So don't go to that doctor on your phone that you think is your doctor. He's not. And so not until you do some things that I'm going to try to start leading you to and helping you with. But then, here's the anatomy of that algorithmic omission, right? So the problem is AI fails to recommend something, which is really scary too, because the insight from this is that 76% of severe AI clinical errors are omissions. So what that means is it's not telling you things that you should do, right? And so, or it's you have maybe a serious problem and it doesn't know it, and so it's not going to tell you to go to get help when you, based upon your condition, you may need serious help. So that's really, really scary, right? So it gives you false security where you typed into your little phone something and it came back and gave you really bad information. and it said, "Oh, hey, you're fine. Just take an apple a day and keep the doctor away." Right? That's the kind of advice that you feel then comfortable with, and then lo and behold, you're dying, and you hadn't gotten help. So that is really, really bad. So then your disease can progress much more rapidly and causes all sorts of bad things. So that's really bad. It's really good at explanation, but very weak at judgment. That's really, really important to understand, because that God gave us such an intelligent brain that not only can we explain things, but we also can discern, right, and have judgment on things. Like, so you can just sometimes just know, like, I'm not sure that's right. And I think it's really important to understand that. So it's really good at understanding, like I have this little ring right here that's analyzing my health from this little ring. And I'm using the circular ring. And so I've looked at a bunch, and I decided to try this one out. And I'll let you know maybe later on as an analysis of how that's going. But I did use the Apple Watch for a long time, and I don't know if the camera when I get in a large screen, I'll show you my wrist. I've got a little bump on my wrist, and I'm 99.9% sure that came from my Apple Watch. I was a really big early adopter of technology. I love technology, and so I was a really big adopter, and I used the Apple Watch early on and wore it every day for all day long, even at night. And I'm pretty confident it burned a spot into my body. So you got to be aware of that thing, those things as well. But I don't wear them anymore because of the EMF problems. So that's another thing from a biohacking perspective we can talk about. So anyway, it's really good at understanding the signal measurement, like looking at your blood results, for example, and saying, "Hey, here's all the blood results you have," and then it can then evaluate it against the data that it has, and then give you information about your blood work, for example. It's really good at that, but it's really, really bad at a subjective thing, in guessing. When things are really complex and dangerous, it might not give you the right advice. So anyway, just know that it's really good at explanation, and know that it's very weak in judgment. And that's that's why you go to a doctor. You want a doctor who can help you with the explanation, but also can evaluate you, and then make a decision based upon what's really happening with you for your health. So that's important. And then just the way that they put in information, right? They put in all this information. They put in, obvious emergencies, drug interactions, lab interpretation, mental health crisis into this engine. The engine, cranks out and then goes and puts information out into outputs for people. So now these companies are realizing that they're in trouble, right? Like OpenAI, who owns ChatGPT, has been sued and is continuing to be sued in multiple lawsuits for millions of dollars because of the advice that ChatGPT gave people. So they've created a ChatGPT health solution. And so that's one of the things that I'll be helping understand and helping evaluate. Is that going to help you better than the regular one? For sure. But at the same point, because of all these issues and problems, they had to go create a custom solution for health. So they've got a ChatGPT health. And so that's better. But the problem is it's still dependent upon an algorithm, right? It teaches you to ask the machine instead of a doctor. So people are just more apt to, instead of getting advice from a real practitioner who can understand their body language, who can understand other details that a computer's never going to understand, this will help you with. So I think that's really, really important. And then ADA Health specializes in the conventional symptom triage. So the problem with like functional medicine is ignores root cause frameworks like adrenal fatigue. That's what I love about holistic practitioners, right? They're starting to look at what's the root cause of all your problems, right? And so unfortunately, our healthcare system doesn't give our doctors time enough and or the tools to start looking at what's the root cause of your problems. So let's get to the root cause of your issues instead. So again, the verdict on this one particularly is health sovereignty, right? Teaches self-advocacy and organization before your appointments, which is good because you want to be organized, you want to get your information in, and you want to get the data, and then you can take that data to your doctor. So that's what ADA Health is doing. And then the Oura Ring 4, acts as a biometric mirror. So that's kind of cool, right? The nice thing about it is it does monitor your heart rate variability, helps monitor your sleep, but you've got to pay every month for that. And the verdict is mixed on it. It builds profound body awareness, which is good, but it introduced, surveillance trade-offs, which is kind of scary. So that's why I ended up picking this circular ring 2 instead of the Oura Ring. Is not necessarily because of bad things about the Oura Ring, but I didn't want really, really, really low EMFs, right? I didn't want another recurrence of my bump from my Apple Watch. So those are thing. And then this is another one, Wysa provides a safe harbor for mental health. And so this is FDA breakthrough device and NASA adopted. Relies on structured CBT exercises, zero data selling, that's good, really good, right? And then they go on the other side. It's like character AI and open AI, is really scary. That's right where they're subject to wrongful death lawsuits and freeform hallucinations is what's happening over on the red side, right? So we want to stay away from the red side and get all the way onto the green side. Not saying that the FDA is honorable, but just knowing that if you can have solutions that have zero data selling and the devices that have been tested, that's better, right? Than the other one. So health sovereignty is very, very important. It equips users with coping techniques that they can keep forever, rather than generating emotional dependency. Was related to that one. And then InsideTracker. Functions as a lab analysis. Now this is cool, right? These are the neat things is that you can track your labs over time, and you have this solution on your system, on your computer. You can have it take all your labs and analyze all of them, and can give you comparisons of this is what your last 5 labs look like, and this is what's happening. Man, based upon that, you should potentially be doing something about it. And then to not only just give you recommendations, which I think are going to be really important, like especially as we move forward with this personalized area, we start combining our genetics and our lab work and all the other factors I talked about. Man, that's one that's going to get real exciting. But this InsideTracker is an early adopter on doing this lab analysis, which is kind of cool, right? So then you own your actionable information on your blood data, right? So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited about those advancements that are happening. And then Viome attempts to map your microbiome in the body, right? We talk a lot about gut health and how important your microbiome is, right? The actual that's what problem with antibiotics. Antibiotics go into your gut and they kill all of the good bacteria, right, as well as the bad bacteria. And you need good bacteria for proper gut health. That's what happens with leaky gut and things like that, is people's microbiome is just off. And so this one's pretty cool. But gosh, this one's $199 a month. Expensive. It does come with recommendations, custom formulations, but it is also expensive. That's the other thing I find frustrating at some of these companies is they'll give you good information, but the only reason they're giving you that good information is if you sign up for their supplements or their thing. And I'm building a health solutions company, right? Exodus Strong, and we have this light code system that is to help you with the red light therapy. And we have a supplement. It's called Exodus. It's an amazing supplement. But And I'm going to have diagnostic tools there because I really believe that that's the future of medicines. I really want to help people with this nirvana that I'm building right towards that I is my big moonshot, that I want to have this solution that's just incredible for everybody. And so I'm evaluating all these things, but I don't like the fact when I personally have to go get a test and then I have to buy their specific solutions. Like that's kind of iffy to me on that. Just I don't want people to be locked into something. I want to give people choice, and I want to give them choices. So that's important. So just looking at these 6 tools, right? ChatGPT, the Ada Health, Oura Ring, Wysa, InsideTracker, and Viome. Those are the 6, and those are interesting things related to them. Some of them have really strong scientific rigor behind their solution. And then, God's design alignment, is there any? And man, ChatGPT definitely doesn't have that. It's like really, really poor alignment from a fate perspective. And then it's very, very red on the sovereignty of your information, right? Your information can be easily disseminated with that solution. So I'll be tracking those because I don't want you to have to do that. So I'm going to do a deeper dive later on probably each of these tools and talk about each of the categories of them, because those are all different. So I want to just kind of walk through those and kind of why here's kind of my criteria, the way I look at it, right? One, is it scientifically sound? Is it aligned with God's design? Because if it's not aligned with God's design, then I'm not in it, right? I'm not going to evaluate it. I'm not going to, I'm quickly going to dismiss that because it's not something I'm interested in, and I want to use only solutions that are. But I'll look at it and evaluate things that people will say, and then I might find out that, in my opinion, it's an evil solution that's not related to God's design. I want to quickly get rid of that out of my recommendation list, right? And then, does it serve or extract? Or is it really helping people, or is it or not? And then one is it what's the sovereignty or dependency? Because I want to get to the point where everybody, you should own your own health. You are responsible for it, not your wife, not your children, not your doctor, not anybody, but God and yourself. You are in charge of your health. So own it. You have to own it. You say, I am going to get better. I am going to get well, and I'm going to figure out a way to do that. And the good news is there's lots of tools to help you do it. So anyway, technology amplifies it and it doesn't. So I'm going to stop that presentation, and let's go back to the to full screen real quick. I want to show people my look at my wrist, because my wrist, when we get it back to my full screen here in a second, we'll look at that. If we don't get me full screen here in a second, then I will just continue on with what I had planned. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back to, since we're already still looking at my screen, and maybe I probably need to stop sharing is what probably the problem is. That is the problem. It's me, not anybody else. So I wanted to show you my wrist because I think it's important for you to see why. One of the reasons why I will never put on my. I brought my Apple Watch here somewhere because I wanted to show it to people. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to be putting this thing up on the Facebook Marketplace probably, because this is a beautiful brand new. I guess it's not beautiful when it has fingerprint smudges on it, but it's a beautiful Apple Watch, and I have this really nice green metal wristband that I love, and my wife was nice enough to buy me an upgraded version, so it's like one of the most recent versions of the Apple product. But I want to show you my spot. If you can see that one, it doesn't look very big on my wrist, but it's the size of, I don't know what would be of a water drop when it falls on your skin, and it's a bump is red, and it won't come out. I've tried to dig it out, which is don't do that, right? I learned based upon my cancer diagnosis. Just for people that don't know my story, I ended up having cancer on my ankle, and I had a cancerous spot there that turned really bad and got into my bloodstream, and I have stage 3 cancer because of that. But early on, it was just a little mole. And it was a mole that just wouldn't go away, and it started getting bigger. And I literally tried to dig it out with my finger at one point. This was years ago, and it still came back, and I was dumb enough to not go get taken care of. And since I did not get it taken care of, eventually it turned into cancer, and then it got into my bloodstream. And at this last year and a half of my life, which has been the hardest year and a half of my entire life, bar none, for sure, was because I wasn't smart enough to go get it looked at early on. So I do recommend anybody that has spots on their body, go see your dermatologist. If they recommend you get it taken off, get it taken off. Right there, it's a really simple process and really inexpensive process, and it can save you from going through what I have gone through, right? And I am very blessed that I am still here, because there's a lot of people who get stage 3 melanoma. Once it gets into your lymphatic system, it can spread like wildfire, and a lot of people only live for a few months. So I'm winning the battle, and my tumors are shrinking, and things are going great for me. So I'm not worried about that. I'm very happy with where I am and what I've done. And so I'm excited about that. But, I'm going to go get this looked at, because I have to go do another dermatologist meeting with just to make sure, they're going to look at my ankle, which is great. My ankle looks amazing. We did remove all of that from there, and there was some early signs that I might have a cancer growing again around my ankle. But we thank goodness, with all my treatments and everything I've done, there's my leg, my ankle is 100% clear now, and so that's super, super awesome. But I'm going to go get this looked at, because they just shouldn't be here. And I'm going to get rid of this darn thing, because I am 99% sure when I had my Apple Watch 1, which was the first version, they had these really bright things that were just 24/7 would be on your skin. I'm pretty confident it burnt that into my skin. So be cautious of wearables. That's why with the circular and the Oura Ring, I'm gonna test the circular one. Oura is really popular, so I knew everyone would know that. That's why I had listed it as one of the 6 that I'm gonna analyze. But I'll probably give you more detail on the circular one, since that's the one I physically use on a daily basis. So that's super fun. The last part of this episode is so hopefully, let's just summarize really quick what we learned. One is, you take the advice of AI and you use what you see on your ChatGPT, and it could lead to you taking pool cleaner and going to a psychiatric facility because you're out of your mind, right? It literally happened. And then there's lots of other cases where people have almost died, right? So let's not do that. I don't want that for anybody. So let's understand that these AI systems are trained on the data that comes in, and they're really good at analyzing data and spitting back data, but they don't have any judgment, right? So there's no judgment related to it. So you need to have a human in the loop related to your health, and that human in the loop should be you. But it's not you and the ChatGPT who's giving you bad information. So the next part of this episode is I wanted to walk you through some of the things that I do with AI that I think are very important, and just some of the tools that I will use to go ask it information. So like I mentioned, I'm really big into AI right now because I'm automating things within my business, and it's doing some incredible things. And I'm hiring. I'm not hiring. I'm actually training the multiple agent team. Right. I call it the 12 tribes. Right. I'm literally going to build 12 agents that are going to be running lots of parts of my business. And it's going to be able to 10x my productivity. Actually, it's going to probably 100x my productivity. So I'm going to be able to do what a team of 100 people used to be able to do, a year ago. And so a year ago, I would have had to have 100 people on my team in order to do what I'm going to be able to do by June of this year. So by June of this year, which is only a couple of months away, I'm going to have all those agents operating, and more likely operating on a 24/7 basis. So I'm going to have 10 people working 24/7, and it's not going to be people, it's going to be my agents. But so I'm really learning a lot about how they work. And one of the things that's fascinating is the way that they're trained is super, super important. They need to be trained on a very small task, and they need to be very good at that particular task. But in order to train them on that particular task, you have to give it really good information about that said task. And so just think about your health, right? Your health can be, your body is so complex. There's lots of major different organs, right? We talked about genetics. We talked about blood. We talked work. We talked about, just think about all the different types of cancers, right? There's hundreds of types of cancers. And then there's just look at all the other diseases in the world and the reasons why people get those diseases. Health is very, very complex. So to have this generic chatbot that is not trained on all of those specific things, and you try to ask it information about one of these specific things, it's going to give you generic responses. It's not going to give you specific response. So in order for these agents to work well, you have to train it with very specific information. And then you narrow its scope to only that topic, right? So let's just give a small example. Let's just say I want to know what my white blood count, what white blood cell count in my blood is. And so what you would do is you would train this agent to look at the lab results that you're getting, and it's like, okay, I'm the white blood cell analyzer is what this agent is going to do, and it's going to look at all of your lab reports, and then you train it on, okay, what does that mean, right? And when you get a white blood cell count that's low, what does that mean? And you get one that's high, what does that mean? And what are the other factors around it, right? So then maybe you might train the white blood cell count to have other factors that it also is evaluating in conjunction with what it knows, so it can give you recommendations on something. So that's the point, is you need to train it on its specific task, and then just maybe the surrounding things that it needs to know and or could recommend. And that's all the information it knows. It doesn't know anything about anything other than that. And you give it that, and then you have an orchestrator, right? You have another agent that orchestrates all this information going back and forth. And that's where it gets really fun, is you have this orchestrator who says, okay, now it's time to go look at my white blood cell count. So I'm going to go talk to Agent White Blood Cell, and Agent White Blood Cell is going to come back and say, oh, hey, this person's trending down, and so his white blood cell count is low. Thus, you need to do X because of that. And so it will send back to the orchestrator that information. Then the orchestrator takes that and says, okay, good. Then it would go through all the different labs and all the different analytics, and then you have something that comes back and says, okay, now I've got all my data points. Help me analyze that. And then you train another agent who's really good at analyzing all the interactions, right? So it's like agent upon agent upon agent, etc. And so from a business perspective, just so you kind of get, that's kind of from a health perspective how you would look at it. From a business perspective, it might be just you have a research agent who goes and researches all the competition. Then you have a writer, somebody who writes good stories, who might write your blogs for you. And then even within a blog writer, you need someone who can look at what the headline of that blog should be, what the keywords that should go along with that blog. And then now we're getting into the search world. And if you know anything about search, there's answer engine optimization and search engine optimization. And so you need, with your blog, you need to have a bunch of other information, in your blog that help you get found. It's called AEO, or sometimes they call it GEO. I like answer engine optimization. It's basically, how does ChatGPT find you or your company? And so anyway, the reason why I'm explaining all that is these agents need to be really, really important. And there's going to be multiple agents. And so orchestrating all that's really important. So let's go back to the health discussion. The way that these systems are going to be orchestrated in the future is these orchestrator agents are going to work with a bunch of sub-agents. And then those sub-agents will probably spawn other sub-agents, et cetera, to help with outcomes of things. And we're getting to that point where this is real. And people without being a programmer are able to actually implement these very complex processes and really do things that multiple people have not been able to do. So I think it's very, very important. But let's get back to the health discussion, because what do I do, right, when I'm looking at health? Because I have lots of health issues, and I love biohacking, so I use these AI tools all the time. It's like I'll ask ChatGPT something, and I'm like, not sure about that. So I'll ask Gemini the same information. I'll ask Claude the same information, and they come back with wildly different responses. So what I ended up doing research on all of them, and I bring them together, and then I have the best or the smartest one, because it changes all the time, right? So one week ChatGPT will have the smartest engine, and then the next week Claude will have the smartest engine. Next week Google, the Gemini probably will be the smartest engine, or maybe it'll be Grok next time. And then you take all that analysis, and then you have the smartest ones, synthesize it. So it takes it in and analyzes all of them and says, oh, well, these ones are crap and these ones are good, and here's better recommendation. Then I might listen. I might say, okay, well, this makes better sense, and you use your human intuition related to it. And then there's other things that I'm really more comfortable with. I'm much more comfortable with some of these natural tools. Have been trained on natural resources. And so one of them I love, and if we can go back to let's see, I'm going to go share my screen. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to share my screen. I'm going to share my entire screen this time. I'm just going to share my window, and then I'm going to share that. Grok is one that I trust a lot more, man. Thank goodness for Elon Musk and him buying or buying Twitter and in creating Grok, because his whole concept around AI is he wants the truth. He doesn't want false information, regardless of topic. And so that's really going to be important for our health. So Grok actually does a better job of giving you more truer information related to health. That's what I'm finding. So I do use Grok as a answer. So in fact, you'll see here, one of the things that I did was AI healthcare horrors, right? So here's one of them. Yeah, here's a 60-year-old man advice, right? He talked about the salt thing we talked about, delayed cancer, right? Well, this was a bad one. This Irish dad, Warren Tierney, had worsening sore throat. So then ChatGPT said, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Later on, he finds out he has stage 4 esophageal cancer, right? And so he should have actually gone and got that looked at. And man, if you can find cancer early on, you can really do a lot better job of preventing the spread if you catch it early. And so that's bad, right? That poor man did not do it. So what I did in order to prepare for this episode is I did exactly what I told you. I did research on this topic in Grok. I did it in all these other AI tools, and I brought them back and I synthesized it into that report for you. It wasn't real in depth, but just that's how I operate. But another one that I wanted to share with you was Brighteon.ai. So Brighteon.ai is done by the Health Ranger, and so he has trained his AI. He was going to call it Enoch at one point, but now it's like BrightAnswers.ai, probably an easier thing for people to remember. But you can ask it anything for free. It allows you a 5,000 character limit prompt, and you can only get a few of these until you actually become a member. And then, but the great thing about it is it's going against all these data repositories. Like he has been writing stuff about all natural health for decades. And I want to make sure, I only have 3 minutes left. So I want to just know, I want you to know that Brighteon is a great place to go for health information. It's going to do, I'll just do one, dendritic cell therapy for cancer. That's one of the things I'm doing, right? Personally, I'm getting treatments down in Tijuana for that. So now that searches through millions of pages of curated science papers, published books, and articles, finding relevant information about it. But then it cites all this great research that then you can go dig into related to that research. So it really does a good job of, and then you can, and all the resources are like Truth About Cancer and all these people who are really trying to help from a holistic perspective, health. So I get this as one of my data sources because it is very impactful from a, I'll go ahead and stop that sharing now, it gives you more natural health related information. So if you're really holistic, Brighteon, you're going to love that, right? But then you ask all the other AI engines about Brighteon's service, and they're like, "Oh, red flag, stay away!" Right? They're trained on misinformation. I'll let you make up your own mind whether Brighteon and the Health Ranger is misinformation. I really enjoy it. I think he's really trying to help humanity. Like Jordan Rubin, a lot of the other amazing doctors and practitioners are. So with that, I wanted to summarize that AI in health is super exciting. That's why I call myself a faith-based AI wellness futurist, is I want to help you navigate this because this is super, super important. Don't be like the guy who took the pool salt and almost died. And don't be like the people who did die by using AI. Let's be a little smarter about it. Let's go to services like Grok and go to Brighteon and get information, but don't just believe one. Go look at 4 or 5 others and then make up your own mind. Do your own research on these topics. So I think it's super, super important. I'll come back and give you an analysis of those 6 AI tools that are big. And I think it's going to be really important moving forward, is things that can help you. So with that, we're running out of time, and just wanted to say thank you and God bless you, and just believe, biohack, become.
Remember, if you have air in your lungs today, God has a plan for your life. Believe, biohack, become.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the community and get the show notes at biohackingville.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at biohackingville. Until next time, believe, biohack, become.